Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Roman H. Leroux. If it's the first time you're joining, welcome. If you only want to join for the mental illness videos, please click on subscribe and you'll go to the playlist that says mental illness and you will see all those videos. Then you don't have to go through all my videos to find the video that you're looking for. So today, I want to make a video about something that I think is not spoken about enough, and that is logistics versus excuses versus reasons in mental illness. So I've got a term that I use in my own mental illness, which is called integration. So what that basically means is that I integrate it as part of who I am. So in spite of the fact that I have mental illness, I still choose to function. So that means that you go through the motions of the day. You still live, you still shower, you still eat, you still take care of your pets, you still dress, you still communicate. Now, that's very simplistic and it sounds easier than what it actually is, but it is possible. And the more you do this, the more you enable yourself to actually become a high-functioning person with mental illness. You'll often hear that there's this term low-functioning and high-functioning. Low-functioning means that a person with mental illness do not really function the way they should or can. A high-functioning person with mental illness functions in spite of the fact that they have mental illness. I'll use an example. I've got a friend who lives in the United States of America. She's got bipolar disorder. So she's actually medication resistant. So she's got all the reason in the world to not function, but she does function. She goes to work. She takes care of her kids. She functions in her life. It's not easy. She battles. But in spite of the fact that she's got mental illness, she still chooses to function. So this is where this thing now comes in of logistics versus reasons versus excuses. So I'm going to give you the example of taking a shower. So a lot of people with mental illness battle with this thing. But people think it's gross. It's actually sad because you feel so bad that you don't even want to take care of yourself. It's not because they're dirty. It's because they feel so bad that they don't care about taking care of themselves. Okay, so you wake up. You do not take a shower because you don't feel like it. You don't feel like getting out of bed. So you have a reason to not take the shower. But there's no logistic preventing you from actually getting up and taking the shower. You must be very careful to not make the reason an excuse. If a person with a severely damaged spine, somebody that was in an accident, goes to hospital, they have severe damage, they have to get a lot of rehab for their bodies, they have to learn to walk again, all of that. Those people have reasons to not want to. It's painful, it's taxing, it tires them out to learn, they put them in those pools and they have to learn to walk, and it's painful for them. But they do it because they can do it. So although they would have a valid reason to say, I don't want to learn this because it's painful and it's too much, they do it because they can do it. So the logistic is not there because the logistics are supplied. The care is there. It's not an excuse. They're not using it as an excuse, but they have a valid reason. So they actually are ignoring all of that and just doing it. It's the same with mental illness. Now, I don't want to oversimplify this because it's not as easy as that. I know I've had days, I think weeks, that I didn't take care of myself. But get to a point where you say, you know what, if I don't take this shower now, by this afternoon I'm going to feel terrible because I haven't showered in 5 days, and it's just another day that I just didn't do anything. But if you do actually take the shower, and you do actually go and you eat your breakfast, and you do something constructive, even that is constructive, then after a while you say to yourself, but in spite of the fact that I feel the way I do, I still function. So the patterns in your brain start forming different roads where you actually enable yourself to function in spite of your mental illness. So the reason why I call this logistics is a very real issue for many people. Okay, I have a lot of logistical issues in my life. So for example, you can get a job for the day. You found a job for the day, you can earn a few bucks for the day, but now you say, but I can't go because I don't have a car. Okay, that's valid. It's a logistic. But now your friend sees that and says, okay, I'll take you. Now you say, okay, but I don't have clothes to wear to this. It's like a formal job. I don't have clothes. And your other friend says, okay, I'll give you some clothes to borrow for the day. Okay, that's solved. Now you go to the next thing. Yeah, but I don't really feel so well. So now the reasons you had, the logistics was solved, but now it's solved. But now you're looking for something else. So now it's now no longer a reason. Now it's become an excuse. So the message of this video is, do not confuse reasons with excuses. If you have a valid reason for not functioning the day, you've got psychosis, you feel so bad that you want to end your life, it's valid. But don't start confusing it with excuses, because you're so used to living in this specific way that everything becomes excuses. Everything becomes excuses. You know what? If a person with stage 4 cancer, which is bad, I mean, it's bad. Those people are in intense pain, and the therapy that they go through tires them out and so on. If that person in the morning says, you know what, today I don't want to take my shower, they've got a valid reason. They have. But if they still take it, that means you can do it as well. You can do it as well. Now, like I said earlier, I don't want to oversimplify it, because it's difficult. It's difficult to function when you don't feel like functioning. But don't confuse you can with you can't. Because if you can still do it, it means you can integrate that illness into your being, and you can still function in spite of it. So if you're going to sit in front of the TV the entire day and just watch movies because you're feeling so bad, you're still doing something. You're watching a movie. If you get up and maybe go and clean your room, you're still doing something. What's the difference? The one is entertaining, and you think you can use it as an excuse because, you know what, I feel so bad, I just want to sit and watch movies. You're still doing something. You're just not doing physical work. There's nothing wrong in going and cleaning and tidying up your room, or taking a shower, or maybe going outside for a bit and looking into the sun and maybe planting a plant. That's also doing something. It's not something that you can say, but I feel so bad that I don't feel like making my bed. Yes, you can feel that bad, but you still need to make your bed. You still need to do that. You still need to live. I often speak to people, and I often see people that want other people to enable them to live. Now, I have had a lot of people assisting me to better my life, for which I'm very grateful. But there comes a point where you can no longer say, okay, enable me, enable me, enable me, enable me. there comes a point where you are enabled. Now you have this. What are you going to do with it now? Are you going to wait now for more enabling and more enabling and more enabling? If I can use this very simple explanation. So, you're mentally ill, you don't have a job, you don't have a car, you can't get to a shop, you've got no food. So, a friend says, okay, I'll give you ingredients to make something for tonight. Solved. Or is it? It is actually solved because you can now take those ingredients, you can make the food, and you can eat. But you'll get people that have become so used to being enabled that they will say, okay, what do I do now with these ingredients? Make something. Then they want the people to say, okay, I'll make the food for you as well. Then they make the food, okay, now you need to feed me. Guys, you can't expect people to enable you to breathe. You need to breathe on your own. Now, I have mental illness, and I've had periods in my life where I didn't function for years, but I would sleep 17 hours a day, not shower, bath for days, not even brush my teeth. I can say that now because it's a reality. But there comes a point where you must no longer use excuses. A reason is a reason. A reason is a valid reason. If you don't have a car to go to the shop, you don't have a car to go to the shop. But the moment that reason, the logistic behind that reason is solved, don't go to the next thing. Then say, okay, it is solved now. That is when you become a high-functioning mentally ill person. There will come days where you feel so bad. Really, guys, there comes days that I feel so bad that I don't even want to open my eyes. And you are entitled to those days to say, today I'm not going to function because I'm too ill. You're entitled to because you are ill. But don't let that become the controlling factor in your life. I've got a saying, I've got no control over what bipolar does to me. But I've got control about what I do to bipolar disorder. So, to sum this up, if you have a logistic in your life as a mentally ill person, it's a valid reason. It's a valid reason to not function. But if that logistic becomes solved, if somebody enables you, you now have the tool. Don't expect the people around you and expect yourself to now sit and wait for the next enablement. You need to at some stage say, okay, I can now enable myself more in spite of my illness. Yes, do allow yourself to be ill because you are ill. But do not confuse a reason with an excuse. A reason is valid. An excuse is not valid. And I'm saying this to you because I am living this. I have, over the past few years, enabled myself to no longer say, enable me, enable me. I do still, because sometimes I really struggle and people do enable me and assist me. But once I have that tool, now I have the tool. Now I have to say, okay, now I have to go to the next step. Now I have to move on and enable myself to become a high-functioning person. The moment you integrate that into who you are, and you no longer use it as an excuse, but as a reason, then you'll become high-functioning as a mentally ill person. And to live as a high-functioning mentally ill person means to really live with your mental illness. And you can, and you should, because you're worth it. Take care.